also seemed to die basically in poverty. So like I don't know, it's kind of a hard nut to crack. Dave's death is also very weird. I don't know if you got one of those questions coming up,
I
but
actually do. I
yeah.
actually do.
So
Um,
I'll let you get there then.
so do you think it was a hit job?
Yeah, it's I think there's something there. I don't think it's cut and dry. And I think Dave deserves to have it looked into further. The officers at the scene, the way they wrote it up was that, nah, this is a little weird. There's bullet casings on the floor, but the gun doesn't appear to be fired. But the gun is on the bed. There were blood tracks. Dave was in a wheelchair. He was paralyzed from the waist down, if I recall. And there was blood tracks around the house. So it was seemingly he was bleeding out and scrambling, around his apartment, and then was found many days later. If I recall, it was 3 or 4 days later, and in a just a filthy state because the body decomposes quickly. He lived in South Florida, which is where I live. I actually only live maybe 15 minutes away from Dave, where Dave was found. And I'll tell you what, 3 days without the air conditioning on, no good around here. So very, very humid, very, very hot. So decomposition will be a rapid thing to happen here. And yeah, so what else could be done at this point? I don't know. There's probably been a dozen people that have lived in that apartment since Dave passed. But yeah, it's very fishy. Now, why would it be fishy? You can think of a few. I mean, like, who are they working for? What were they doing? If it was CIA work under the table, like maybe they discovered something that they weren't supposed to see. Maybe it was, you can go. Maybe it was the Russians. Maybe it was the cartels. Maybe it was, whoever they were working with. I know Craig has talked quite a bit about working on digital forensics to stop human trafficking operations and those kind of things. So if they just found the wrong thing and mess with the wrong guy, like it's real easy to just put a stop to some of that. We've also seen Craig talk about guys like Gareth Williams, who ended up in a duffel bag, probably because of the KGB and that kind of thing. Like, so it's hard to say, and frankly, way above my pay grade to figure out. So, but it's really sad, and the reason I say Dave deserves to have it looked into more deeply is by every measure, from a forensic standpoint, looking into Dave's life. Dave was an awesome dude. Like, he was a good person. He was a good friend. He was a good business partner. Like, the guy just seems like he was a rock solid dude. And I always I could almost come to tears just listening to people's testimonies about what a good guy Dave was, basically. So, and Craig's the same way. Like, when Craig gets talking about Dave, you see him like he misses Dave, and that's just really hard. So, yeah, I think there's something fishy there, but how do we figure it out? Especially, it was 10 years ago now that he's passed, and
Yeah.
I don't know what evidence could even still exist, but if it's out there, I would love to have it be public.
Yeah, and that's why I guess we're opening the discussion is it's not really talked about, but it's the question on everyone's lip. You have someone who is, I mean, more or less half owner of one of the major wealth technologies and patents, like you said, heavily involved with, deep state organizations or illegal organizations. There's just so many reasons why someone would want to, I guess, take him out, whether
Yeah.
it was financial gain, whether it was a threat, but definitely, the story of him being hit by a car. I mean, okay, let's take that story, even before,
Mhm.
right? Well, was that actually an assassination attempt? The story is that, oh, well, it was just a random, motor vehicle accident, left him, very crippled. But that story
Mhm.
doesn't really add up to me.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I don't know. There was another one. I mean, it was the official story is he just got a motorcycle and was driving too fast. And I can tell you, South Florida traffic is it's about the worst drivers in the world. But that I don't know. It's hard to know. But Dave had a long military career and things too. I mean, who knows what he was up to in the army? This is just one of those things where, again, I guess I'll say X-Files again, where if you watch like the way that Mulder's life worked, he just got into what he got into because he was interested, and then he starts to realize like, hey, wait, was my entire life a setup? And yeah, that's just kind of how things work out sometimes. But like I said, it's a little bit above my pay grade to go down all these rabbit holes because frankly, I don't have any. I'm just a citizen. I am a journalist, but that kind of thing is way past my skill set, unfortunately. But I do love the idea of people taking an interest and digging in, especially as I think Bitcoin and Bitcoin related weird history bubbles up, which is what I actually do, is talk about the history of Bitcoin because it's just talked about wrong. And I would hope that it would pilfer out to people that do have that kind of clearance and that kind of budget in their lives and figure out what's actually been going on.
Cool.